This is an important question. You said you're an EMT. Okay, if you're responding to a health emergency, biological male, somebody with a penis is having a medical emergency, and they say to you, I think I'm having a miscarriage. Would you check them to see if they're having a miscarriage? Would you consider that a possibility for them?
Ooh. Got him.
How would you define a woman? Because you've asked other people up here to define how we would define a woman. How would you define a woman, Mr. Walsh?
An adult human female.
Wait, Mr. Walsh, did you just assume his gender?
And also, I'm sorry, let's pause. They're clapping for that.
For the basic truth, basic biology.
Excuse me, Professor, what's 1 + 1? 2. Woo! Like,
Yeah,
bro,
buddy.
come on, man.
The bar is so low, bro. Astaghfirullah.
And how don't trans people, how doesn't a transgender woman fit that definition?
Female. Because they're not female. They have. You said that you are a biological male, correct?
I said I'm transgender. I might be intersex for all we know. About almost as many people in the world are transgender as intersex, and
well,
a lot of people don't know.
Look at the guy in the back behind the T. Just look at him, bro. Look how confused he looks.
What was that statement? They just said something
let's rewind it.
The world are transgender as intersex, and
well,
a lot of people don't know.
Well, but that's a different conversation. Intersex, that's a genetic anomaly. That's a medical condition. So that's a completely different conversation. That's also not a third gender. That's a genetic anomaly that occurs within the sex binary of male and female. What you're saying is that a quote-unquote trans woman is a female?
By the definitions I'm familiar with, yes.
Of course.
So how would you define female?
Through my training in healthcare, there are several different categories for how we define sex. People bring up chromosomes. People also bring up hormone levels. People bring up all sorts of other categories. Lots of people don't fit neatly into a gender binary, even people we don't consider to be intersex. It's a complicated spectrum.
Yo, he's getting worked up. I don't know, man. Do you have any thoughts so far?
No.
Nothing. Rami.
Yeah. I do have a few things I want to say. So I think what they mentioned in the beginning is that most people in the world are intersex or something like that. And this is such a straw man.
No, hold on. Most people.
I think that's what they said.
They said as much people as inter is T.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they're saying as the amount of people that are inter, like born by birth with both genitalia or non-functioning for either, is the same as the amount of people that are trans. That's basically what he said. I don't think he said most people are inter.
I see. Yeah, but even that is fallacious, the straw man, because actually, as Matt Walsh said, these are just offshoots from pre-existing sexes. Like the most rare one I think is XXXY, and it's a chromosomal disorder that only occurs in biological males, right? So they're male, but they have a disorder. So but they're still male. They're still men, and it's the same. And there's actually only 0.5% of the population of the world are born with like identifiable confusing parts. So 0.5%. So it's not like anything.
What this reminds me of?
Yeah.
What?
It reminds me of the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh yeah.
You guys know this? Yeah.
What if he came right in front of you and you called him a he, and then he looked at you and demanded that you call him by his proper pronouns? What would you do? Because I genuinely want to know, bro. Like, pronouns is a big topic, and perhaps we can save this for after the actual reaction video itself. But I did want to get both of you to give me your insights, or at least to the viewers, what you would do if somebody demanded you in like a workplace setting, in a school setting, because you could lose your job.
Yeah, before you answer that question, Rami, or myself, or even you, Fayed, why don't y'all check y'all's phone real quick, look at our group message just to make sure we're on the same page, and then by all means, feel free to answer.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
All right, Rami, you want to go first?
Yeah, inshallah. So they actually made it illegal in Canada to misgender someone and call them by their wrong. Yeah, you can actually face fines in Canada. So I don't know. I have to ask my sheikh about it. I can't answer from an Islamic perspective. From a non-Islamic perspective, or even kind of from an Islamic perspective, you have to obey the law of the land, as long as it doesn't go against your religion. So if there's nothing haram about it, then you kind of have to. But if it is haram, then that's a different story. And I don't know. It's a very delicate discussion.
Okay, what about you, Anna?
I mean, I've been faced with situations like this where I've talked to someone who they've been claiming to be a different gender or a different pronoun or fluid, gender fluid, whatever that is. And I can't really say much. You know, like in the moment, like I see that and I'm like, really? But it's like I kind of leave it as it is. Like, I'm not gonna say anything in that moment because what's it gonna do? Just put them on the offense? You
There's
know,
no
what
reason.
am I gonna? Yeah, what am I gonna do? Shove truth into their mouths, like down their throats?
They're not ready for that.
No.
Yeah.
I agree, bro. I agree.
Yeah. Type. Let's get back to the video, inshallah.
Inshallah. Let's put this up.
It's not complicated, but you also didn't define. So what is a woman? What is a female? What do these words mean?
It's complicated, and I know you're not going to like that answer, but that's because there are no simple answers in human biology.
Let me ask you a question.
You guys,
Can I ask you one last
hang
question?
on. Just let me finish. You guys like to bring up high school level biology classes a lot. I get that a lot, but people who go on to more complicated biology classes will talk about sex as a spectrum.
It's not. It's not.
Well, biological researchers would disagree with you.
Well, and they're full of shit, the ones that would say that. There are.
All right.
There are male gametes and female gametes. Oh, I had one last question. I just have one. I had one quick. Can you come back for 1 second? Because this is an important question. You said you're an EMT.
Yes.
Okay, if you're responding to a health emergency. Biological male, somebody with a penis, is having a medical emergency, and they say to you, "I think I'm having a miscarriage." Would you check them to see if they're having a miscarriage? Would you consider that a possibility for them?
Ooh. Got him.
No, but that's because some people don't have body parts. Doesn't mean they're not a woman.
Okay. Sounds like.
I want to pause for a second because I actually feel bad. You know, it's difficult being in that kind of position, where you're like the only one in the crowd who believes what you're saying or saying something that goes against what everyone else believes, and they're all like booing and oohing and clapping against you, and you could see it on their face. Yeah, it is a very difficult position to be in. Even though we disagree, we should still be able to empathize with that. And I think anyone in that situation would feel kind of succumb by pressure. But based on what they said, I think it's important to, even if we disagree, understand both sides. So there's one side, which is the liberal side. And liberalism at a fundamental level is let anyone do whatever they want as long as they're not hurting anyone else. So from a liberal perspective, if somebody wants to identify as anything in the world, it's not harming anyone, okay, go for it. But the problem lies in, now you're not hurting anyone else, but are you enforcing that upon other people? Because what if I identify as like the boss of everyone? Does everyone have to listen to me? Does everyone actually have to treat me like their boss and believe I'm their boss? What if people start identifying as actual animals and dogs? Will people be allowed to be kept as pets and put in cages and Like, is that something that society will actually allow and accept? And is that something that people will account for in terms of the legislation? That's when it becomes problematic. So you have two people or two sides. You have the liberal side who's like, let anyone do whatever they want as long as they're not harming anyone. You have the other side who's saying, okay, that's cool, but there's a limit to it based on things that are objective. And there are things that are objective, like human biology, male and female, and that sex and gender are no different. Because socially speaking, people are making the case that gender is separate from sex, and they can make that case because there's a social realm to it, right? Socially, if people want to introduce a third gender and whatever, they can do that on a social level because this what comes up in society doesn't have to be objective. People our society loves orange, so everyone wears orange. That's not objective. That's what they do, right? So they could do the same thing with gender, but they cannot say it's objective. Sorry, I don't know what just happened.
Boom, bro! It just mic drop, bro. As soon as you're
done. Bring down the low camera angle, bro.
Even that one cut off, man.
Oof.
It'll be back in a second, inshallah.
Yeah.
Hello,
I like what you say, bro. I like what you say because you're showing a lot of emotional intelligence in regard to this individual. We'll put it at that. This individual who is being put on the spotlight there. But listen, at the end of the day, like, Yani, this person put themselves there. This person knew what they were getting into. This person clearly, like, was going against the status quo and was trying to say this, and this, and trying to go public and trying to say these things where it's like, if you get put on the spot because of that, I mean, you should have been ready for that. You should have been ready to accept that that wasn't a possibility. So I get it, it's very noble to have emotional intelligence here, but it's also like you can't hide the fact that like this person knew what they were getting into from the rip.
Yeah, 100%. Me personally, I don't know. You can't really blame anyone. There's a whole crowd there of people who are going to voice their opinion.
And I can understand it, bro. I can understand where you're coming from because, like, bro, any human would feel some type of way if they were put on the spot like that and made to look this way in front of everyone, bro. That's not an easy situation. So I can feel that, but I can also understand that, like, look, this person knew what was coming.
Yeah, that's fair. I still think that shouldn't stop people from, having respect and having noble conversations. But I understand, Yani, this is the real world. Not like that real world, like, the Tate and stuff, but alhamdulillah, this is the dunya, this is reality. And not everything goes as planned, alhamdulillah. But like we said, everything's perfect by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Alhamdulillah, bro. Imagine somebody from like the 1800s, bro, time traveled, came into this dunya in today's time, saw this video, bro. They would be completely caught off guard. Just unbelievable, bro, that these are things that are even disputed today.
Yeah. And that's a great point because, I mean, throughout all of history, this has never occurred. As far as I know, I'm not a historian, but to my knowledge, this has never occurred in human history. They've always gone based on traditional gender or sex roles for men and women, males and females. They never had this idea. Yeah, they had people who actually castrated themselves and eunuchs and that stuff. But Yani, they were still men at the end of the day. And they knew that. So it's SubhanAllah. It is kind of crazy how we've gotten to this point. And now the question is, what are we basing this off of? Are we basing it off of what people feel? Because I have very strong feelings as well. But is that something you have to accept as kind of an objective truth in my reality and your reality? Or are we basing it in things that you and I can also, agree on and identify together? That's the question. And until we answer that question as a society, we're going to keep having disagreements and problems. And the biggest issue, and the reason we're talking about this, because there is a societal implication. There is a societal enforcing of this. They're being taught, our kids are being taught this stuff in school. I saw recently that the number of the population for T people between the ages of 13 and 17 has doubled in the last 3 years. The studies vary in their methods and stuff, so there is room to justify an increase in numbers, but doesn't justify doubling in number. You know, and
You know what it is though?
yeah,
It's the fact that the medical practitioners are I want to like watch my wording here closely, but the fact that it's so open, right? You have a kid. Maybe the kid has just like this confusion. Maybe the confusion is stemming from the fact that they are seeing something in person in school or just out on the street, or they're just seeing something within their environment, or maybe they're just having these thoughts. So they go to the doctor, or they tell their parents something like this, parents take them to the doctor, and then the doctor's saying, hey, it's perfectly fine to have
Hey,
these thoughts. It's perfectly fine. You know
yeah,
what? Let's put you on some, what are they
anabolics.
called? I was gonna say beta blockers, but it's not beta blockers. It's puberty blockers. Let's put you on this. Let's put you on hold. We don't know what gender you are. It's okay. It's okay. Let's put you on hold. You know what? If you want to be a woman, it's okay for you to be a woman. Imagine this. Imagine that openness, that level of openness to a kid who doesn't know what the hell they are doing. They don't even know what they're doing a week from now.
yeah,
You're gonna tell me that this kid is gonna know what gender they are. So it's like if you provide that level of openness, that level of choice to a kid which doesn't have the level of maturity, that the consciousness, the awareness, the capacity to be able to fully comprehend what it is that they are deciding and what they're doing, bro, it's a no-brainer that you're gonna have the numbers doubling. Bro, watch the next year, watch the next few years, triple, quadruple, 10 times. It's only gonna get worse.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, 100%. And they always try and back it up by saying, "Oh, it saves lives." It also takes lives. It also costs lives because of regret. There have been people who, off themselves because they can't reverse what has been done to them. And this is
Hmm.
something that's been enforced by professionals and by their parents, by their loved ones, and by society. So they think it's okay. Then they go down the route and they end up regretting it. And it's your
Hmm.
fault. It's your fault. It's not just their fault. It's yours because you enforced it. Now, something else I want to mention is there have been no studies done on the long-term effects of chemical castration, these puberty blockers. There has not been any long-term studies done on it. So they're just giving it to kids essentially. And mind you, in Canada, without the consent of parents. Canada every day is
Mm.
becoming more and more of, as Jordan Peterson says, a totalitarian, authoritarian rule. And as Muslims, we're not really for democracy, but even in living in a democratic country, this is not democratic at all. Why are these laws that so many people are against being enforced upon us? We voted this person in. Why can't we vote them out? We voted someone in that's putting these laws in. Why can't we vote it out? It's so sad, subhanAllah, and people just turn a blind eye to it. This is not okay.
Wallah, bro. You know what there are studies for though? That the self-deletion rate post-op in most cases is higher than pre-op. And this doesn't even talk about those that don't self-delete, but they live their lives in misery, bro, which is worse than self-deletion if you talk about, suffering and how much pain that they have to put through.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what one of the biggest issues is, right? Is that people think that these things, these thoughts that they're having in their head are gonna last for the rest of their life. Whereas like, what if you were to just give yourself X amount of time, like maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? What if those thoughts completely run their course and you no longer have them? You would have been looking back like, wow, thank God. Like, I'm so grateful that I didn't go and
Mm-hmm.
stop myself from going into puberty. I'm so grateful that I didn't chop my
Remember.
my Johnson off, boy, the schlong. I'm so grateful that I didn't go over here and get implants on my chest. Like, bro, like it's again, we as humans, we are constantly changing. So imagine if these people who are they're just so consumed that they can't see past these thoughts that they're experiencing. They think that these thoughts is like the end all be all. It's everything. It's all or nothing. There is no life after this. Like it's gonna last for the rest of their life. No, no, no. We're constantly changing, and if we're constantly changing, that means that in 10 to 15 years, like you really think you're going to be struggling with the same thing? Like, can you say you're struggling with the same thing now that you were struggling before? Maybe some people, yes. Maybe some people have like an addiction or something like this, but just like a random thought, maybe like a random thought that like cause you disturbance. And most people can't say this, bro. Like, I think it was actually confirmed that every 10 years, all the cells within our body are completely new. They've completely changed. So essentially, you're a completely new person 10 years from now.
Hondo, bro. And the same way that they're purporting that sex is a spectrum, bro, we know mental health and mental illness is a spectrum too, bro. There's many things that go on behind the scenes in our mind. And I think one of the big issues today is there's an over-diagnosis of mental disorders. A lot of things are just transient feelings, bro. But you're telling me if I go and I express my transient feelings to my physician, they're going to give me medications, bro, for life. And they're going to tell me you have this condition, this disorder, bro. This does not happen 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. That was called a bad day.
And keep it very simple. Keep it very simple. Mental disorder. So the first word, mental, it means it's up here. It's in your head. Now, disorder, what's the order? The order is basically a way of thinking, a way of being that doesn't create dis-ease for you. Split the word disease. Dis-ease, you're not at ease. You have thoughts in your head that make you not at ease. That is a mental disorder. That is all it is. It's very simple, man. It's very simple.
Hondo, bro, Hondo. Rami, you ready to go back to the video?
I have one more thing, just a rhetorical question to ask.
Inshallah.
Why can't kids, get married or decide who they want to be with the rest of life at the age of 13, 14? Why is that not, socially or legislatively in some cases acceptable? But it's okay for them to completely change their anatomy.
Reason is, bro, we live in an agenda, bro, where they don't want people to have kids. And anything that promotes family values is wanting to have kids, bro. This type of stuff is anti-family values, bro.
It's a rhetorical question, bro. It means that there's no answer.
my forte is answering rhetorical questions, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Oriak says, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. Look at how we have to tiptoe around speaking the truth. That says all. If your kids are in public school instead of in Islamic school, then don't get mad when you lose them to shaitan.
Boy.
I saw a video very recently. And I won't name who it is or what the video was, but they basically said the same thing. It's like, you send your kids off in some Islamic schools, by the way, you think they're Islamic and they end up not being Islamic. So you send them to these schools and you're like, wow, I wonder why my young man is now saying he's a woman and all this stuff. It's because you neglected them for so many years and put them basically in the public sphere to be taught whatever the public is going to feed them.
Yeah. And bro, this is the West. This is the West. All right. It's only getting worse. So if y'all live in the West, y'all should start, thinking about this, praying, and really considering getting out of the West. There's before I was Muslim, there's this one song that I had heard where it said that people come to the West to live in the West, but they spend so much time here that it's like they don't even consider like leaving because they think they're a part of the system. They think they can change the system. The system is not going to change. You're not going to change the system. The only way that you can change anything is by leaving the system. And how do you leave the system? You leave the West. You go somewhere else. There's many places in this world, man. And Allah said it best. Hey, man. Allah said it best in the Quran. He said, was this world not sufficient enough, large enough for you to find another place to live? Definitely butcher that, but
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And I generally think, bro, when it comes to specific things like this LGTV, electronics movement, you got the T gang, all this cognitive dissonance, bro, people are confused. And a big reason behind this is watching haram videos, bro. Many people don't know that when you watch haram videos, it almost plants seeds that weren't there before, bro. Because you're looking at your same sex, you're looking at another man as a man, being intimate with a woman, astaghfirullah. And when you condition yourself to be aroused to that, it's only a matter of time, bro. You're this close, bro, before you start experimenting and entertaining different thoughts and maybe even actions, bro. And this brings us to our sponsor of this video, alhamdulillah, the Ummah Academy. Go in, boy.
Hey, man. If you're struggling with pornography addiction, or any sexual addiction for this matter, what the hell are you doing? There's no time to be going back and forth in the same place over and over again. If you're in the same place that you were several years back, bro, you gotta take a step, man. Take a step back, ask yourself, why are you still in the same place? After you answer that, head over to our website, the Ummah Academy, inshallah, and sign up, be a part of it. It's 100% money back guaranteed the first month if you find that it's not for you. But it provides you everything, provides you a 3-month course where you are being guided every single day for you to get over this addiction, and you will have access to a whole community of brothers who are also going through the same thing, and a whole bunch of other good stuff. So by all means, if this is for you, click the link in the description box down below. If it's not for you, share it with someone who it is for. Get some ajr. It's almost the end of Ramadan. Get some ajr before the time is done. Inshallah.
That's what it is, bro. And to this lovely, beautiful Habibi over here, if you could do better, then do better, bro. If not, keep it moving. Come on now.
We've established there are some people who, in principle, can get pregnant, and there are some people who can't. So there's 2 categories, otherwise known as binary.
Lots of women can't get pregnant either.
Yeah, but they're still of the nature to get pregnant. The only
But
reason
they can't get pregnant.
Yes, but
truth matters, right?
It does. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Truth matters, and they can't get pregnant. That's the truth. So how are they still women?
Because they are for the same reason that I can rightly say that human beings have 2 legs. And if a person is born with only 1 leg, that doesn't call into question the statement that human beings have 2 legs, okay? A person being born with 1 leg doesn't mean that now legs are on a spectrum and we can't say anything at all about how many legs a person has. Who knows? They could be a centipede. You know, they could have 100 legs. No, we know human beings have 2 legs. If a human is born without 2 legs, something went wrong. They were supposed to have that second leg. Something went wrong. If you meet a person on the street who only has 1 leg, maybe they had an accident. Maybe they were in war. Maybe something, you know, maybe they were in a car accident. Maybe they had cancer. A leg was cut off. But you know that something went wrong because by their nature, they're supposed to have 2 legs. Same thing for a woman. A woman by her nature can get pregnant. A man by his nature never can. So if you meet a woman of childbearing age, say she's 28 years old, and she can't get pregnant, you know automatically that something has gone wrong. And she can go to the doctor and find out what that thing is, even if they can't fix it. So that proves that women by their nature can get pregnant, because the simple fact that she can't shows you that there's something wrong. This is what is known as the exception that proves the rule. Whereas if a male with a penis can't get pregnant, no doctor on earth is going to run tests to see what's wrong with him, because they already know it's that he's a male, and there's only male and female, those who can get pregnant and those who can't. So that's it.
All right. Very interesting. And I think a very fitting end to the conversation. It's very clear cut. It's very solid, and it's based in reality. Again, one person's coming from a liberal perspective of let everyone do what they want. If they want to define woman this way, let them do it. Another person is going by not just the book or the textbook, but by something that is objectively verifiable in reality. I like the example he gave of human beings have 2 legs. It's so sad that we have to resort to such basic examples and basic analogies to deduce very simple, basic points of human nature, things that have been universally accepted forever, literally, as long as humans have existed. But regardless, it was a very good point. Any thoughts?
I just want to stay as quiet as possible, bro.
Yeah, you tend to do that.
This fast is getting to me, bro. I
Alhamdulillah.
don't even know how we're gonna do Mr. Beast.
Don't be weak, man. Come on. What's wrong with you? Fasting is nothing, bro. People used to fast in the 1400 years ago in the desert. They used to travel and do all these crazy things, man. Come on, man. They used to work in the sun.
Probably the sleep deprivation, bro.
So may Allah make it easy for you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do the Mr. Beast as soon as we're done this.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So I mean, listen, it's not about any one individual, and nobody should be insulting anybody. That's not going to get anywhere. We should just stick to the concepts and the ideas and the ideologies and deal with things. Deal with things on an ideological level. There's an ideological war happening right now. Wars are not always physical. Sometimes they're ideological. And you have to deal with the ideological level or on the ideological playing field. So I'm not going to repeat myself, but with what I mentioned before with the liberalism, and I'm not going to say being conservative. That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Islam because I'm not talking about the liberal party. I'm talking about the ideology that both liberals and conservatives have, which is liberalism. This ideology was founded before like America. It's something that, or maybe around the same time, in like the 1700s, and it's the idea that everyone should be able to do what they want. And Islam came 1400 years ago, and it said humans need to live by the rule of God, not the way the church did it, because they were men making it up, but God decides and men enforce. Or I'll say it again: God decides and men enforce, and by men I mean men and women. Human beings enforce the law. And until we live in the way that God has designed us to live in, we're not going to be happy. Allah says, الَّذِينَ آمِنُوا وَتَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُم بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. He says, those who believe and whose hearts are content with the remembrance of God, indeed with the remembrance of God, the hearts find ease, or the hearts find contentment.